Hello and welcome to some season predictions from us here at Ranks FC in association with 23. We've been lucky enough to use the toolbox, boys. It's been very, very enlightening in terms of these things that we're picking out here. We're going to pick out a player of the season, a signing of the season and a breakout star of the season that we're predicting for this Premier League term. And Dean, you're going to start us off with your player of the season.
My player of the season is actually a player that people seem to forget exists at Manchester City, because since Erling Haaland signed, that's all anybody talks about. But actually, Kevin De Bruyne is Manchester City's best footballer.
I'm not sure that anyone's forgotten that Kevin De Bruyne
I think they have
exists,
in pre-season. They're going to be reminded in the next couple of weeks, because De Bruyne is, I think, going to grow as a player over the next season too. We can already see, like in his chart here, like this guy is so dangerous. Basically, his shot attempts are pretty concise. Like when De Bruyne's like taking aim, you need to be scared. And what I think is the room for improvement, if you like, if there is any from De Bruyne, is going to be down to a role change that I foresee coming this season. I think we're going to see De Bruyne basically turn into have a free role, probably a player like a 10, maybe even coming forward. Like that's probably what Pep's going to have vision for here. I mean, Sam, you're better at reading stats from me. I would say that this tells us that De Bruyne will be perfect to have that role at Man City.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, you're not too worried about pass accuracy because he's trying different things.
Exactly.
He's trying to be creative. He plays killer balls. The shot attempts, the goal scored, it's both feet, so you never really know which way to put him, left or right, because he can kind of do either. Assists, the shots assisted, the progressive. He's so powerful moving the ball forward, which you can see here, and he gets into the box loads. I mean, he's just a complete package. So.
It's a pretty well-rounded graph, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like you don't see many with wider kind of spreads than this. He is top draw in pretty much every capacity. Yeah. The only drop there, as you say, in passing accuracy, and
but
that's
he won't
because
be
he
the
played
focus. You know that when we are in pre-season and when we're talking about Man City, like the focus will automatically go on Haaland and how Man City will change to suit his style of play. But one thing that won't change is that Kevin De Bruyne is also a ridiculous footballer and still the best football technician in this Man City team. That's why I think over the course of the season, so long as he stays fit, of course, De Bruyne will shine as Man City probably win the Premier League again, let's face it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Sam, let's move on to yours. Who are you going for?
Yeah, I'll take Mohamed Salah, another bold call.
Yeah, really brave decisions these.
All the hot takes.
Yeah.
This side of the screen is on fire. For Liverpool, I think obviously he becomes more important than ever, because right now for Liverpool it feels a bit transitional. You've lost Sadio Mane, who's been Salah's partner in crime for so long. Roberto Firmino has a diminished role. And Darwin Núñez needs a bit of time to settle in. A lot of pressure, high fee. So other than Diogo Jota, and maybe something crazy for one of the other younger players that they have in midfield, it's really all on Salah, at least to begin with, I think. And I think he shoulders a big burden for Liverpool this season. And the odds are that maybe they slip a bit further away from Man City, based on De Bruyne and Erling Haaland and all those things. And if they are to stick to their coattails and really challenge them, it's basically this man, at least to begin with. And you know what happens when a player gets a hot start. And someone like Mohamed Salah is pretty famous for that. This is another really well-rounded graph, obviously. Lots of dribbles, lots of touches in the box, constantly gets in, cuts off that right side onto his left foot, is always getting into the box, always taking shots. Obviously, he's one of the most productive players in world football. This is a bit surprising.
Yeah, it's not something that gets highlighted that often, but actually a very, very
generous,
excellent creator.
Generous player as well. I mean, you do see him as a bit of a tunnel vision player sometimes. I want to take 5-6 shots a game. I want to do this. I want to shoot. I want to cut in. But you know what? He's creative too. He assists shots and he assists goals. So the complete package, as we know, there are no secrets with Mohamed Salah anymore. But I just feel like the way Liverpool have set themselves up this season, he's more important than maybe ever.
Yeah.
And that leads to an all-important individual campaign.
I think this is an interesting graph. This is obviously the whole of the Premier League last season. There is kind of this widely spread idea that last year he dropped off after AFCON. And I think to an extent that's true. There was an element where it wasn't quite as obvious when the goals were coming. It wasn't quite clicking in the same way. And Sadio Mane took on a lot of that burden and he won't be able to obviously next season. The question is, does Salah kick back into form because of that absence, or is that absence going to hurt him? And that's, I suppose, the question that no one can answer until the season begins.
Yeah, if there's a man who can take it upon himself and shoulder the burden in the Premier League, it is someone like Mohamed Salah. He also doesn't have a World Cup to attend, which is awful for him, but he does get 4 weeks off. And he will come back, rather than maybe fatigued or devastated after an Africa Cup of Nations final loss, actually he comes back super fresh when a lot of the players that we're going to be talking about will not. So he has that in the tank too.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to move on to mine, and I'm going to go for Erling Haaland. Now, obviously, you talked about him, Dean, you talked about De Bruyne being the creative force, but I've just got a funny feeling we see goal records smashed this season. Look at this map. And I think when you look at something like this, we're talking 86 goals in 89 appearances for Borussia Dortmund, for Erling Haaland. And I think what stands out here is, look how well placed these shots are. Look at the areas in which he's getting these chances, and you think, he's going to Manchester City. They are a chance creation machine in so many ways. Yes, they've lost Raheem Sterling. Yes, they've lost Gabby Jesus. But this is a team designed to create chances in the areas that Haaland likes creating, having chances created for him. And I think that should everyone stay fit, you said it about De Bruyne, I think the same question can be asked about Haaland. We've seen recurring injuries. If he stays fit, I just think that this is a match that is made in heaven for so many reasons, but mostly because he is in and around those areas. We've seen for years City crying out for that last piece of the puzzle, and we know that Pep kind of kicked back against it for a while and said, we don't need that, that's not how we operate. But I think with him in there, things could get very messy very quickly.
Well, it's like the width of the box too is like where he hunts. And Man City haven't had somebody that just spends their time in that section of the pitch just looking to eat up chances. Now, look, the longer he stays at Man City, the more he'll bring other traits of their play into his game, the more he looks to connect up play from deeper and like be a different sort of focal point. But in the early stages, particularly at Man City, you're going to see him staying in that area of the pitch and just looking to time his runs perfectly so that it's Foden or Grealish or Cancelo or De Bruyne or whoever else, Mahrez, is Bernardo pulling across those balls into the box, and he's basically eating them up.
So you can basically you continue this line down here, and for a pure number 9, someone who's getting into the box and taking shots, you're looking at shot locations, this cluster, anything in the width of the 6-yard box is brilliant. It means you're taking high quality shots, it means you're taking well placed shots, and from dangerous areas. I don't know what happened here, he might have been having a bad day.
Just fancied one.
I reckon like losing last minute.
No, I reckon they were 4-0 up.
Yeah, I fancy it, yeah.
Reckon they were 4, but only 4 from outside the box in the entire season.
That's what you want.
Incredible discipline. Loads over here as the ball gets pumped into the channel and he takes it on his left foot, probably across the keeper, because he's got that powerful stride and can sledgehammer it across the goalkeeper, who's then diving that way. And there's quite a few of them have gone in as well, even though they are much harder shots, as you can see from the key. It's an incredible, like when I see a shot map like that from a striker, you get very excited because that's a man who knows when and where to take his chances.
Yeah, or then you chuck it into Man City's chance creation machine, and I think we could see records being smashed if everyone stays fit, and that's why I've gone for Haaland. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe for more from us at TWENTY3.